Tell us what it was about the MAGA community and Trump's campaign that you found alluring and why you gravitated to it.
So I was kind of told that the way to be successful was to be a Republican and to vote for Trump and to do MAGA things. And when he first ran, it was my first election where I was allowed to vote. Yeah, so I've seen a lot of people talk about MAGA being like the party for people who feel left behind. And I grew up really, really poor. And a lot of the people in my life who showed kindness to me were MAGA.
Imagine thinking you found the golden ticket out of poverty, only to find out it's actually a one-way trip to disappointment. This is the story of how one Texan bet on Trump, bought the promises, and then threw the whole ticket away.
Yeah, I think that the economic worries that a lot of people had in supporting Trump, I feel like those were and are valid reasons.
So I remember voting for him and feeling really proud and like, hey, I did the right thing. I'm going to finally be able to not live paycheck to paycheck anymore. Like, he's going to do great things because this is what every trusted adult in my life was telling me.
I don't think that candidate Trump then or President Trump now actually has any solutions for working families and for small business owners. But
what could make someone turn so fast? Loss? Lies? Or something much louder? You're about to find out. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. What makes someone believe a red hat and a few slogans could change everything? For Tori, it wasn't just the marketing. It was years of frustration, poverty, and desperation. Growing up in a small Texas town, she knew what it meant to feel forgotten.
Seeing jobs go overseas, watching once vibrant communities get hollowed out. I knew people who had lost business to foreign nations from their own small business. I don't say it as a self-defense, but I do think that it was a legitimate and good reason that people had for supporting Trump at the time. So Trump really spoke to, hey, the system is rigged against so many working Americans, lower income Americans, small business owners.
Government programs meant to help her family seemed stuck in a cycle of red tape and broken promises. Tori remembered the look on her mom's face every time they got some notice about revoked aid. The mix of stress and anger, a face she hoped never to see in her own mirror. For a while, she thought life couldn't get much worse. But it didn't get better either. And then there were the MAGA folks in her town. They weren't like her. Or at least that's how it seemed. Their families looked happy, attending church potlucks in neat American flag polos and chatting about plans to renovate kitchens or buy another truck. They weren't drowning in overdue rent notices. They seemed stable, like they had things figured out, or at least looked the part better than anyone else. One of them gave Tori's dad a ride to work for a month straight when their car broke down, never asking for gas money. Another invited the family over for burgers and fireworks on the 4th of July, like they were part of something bigger, something proud. Then came Trump. Tori saw him as more than just a guy with a weird tan and hair that lived its own life. His slogans, "Make America Great Again," "America First," sounded like the ticket. Finally, somebody who cared about people like her. He talked about manufacturing jobs, promised better healthcare costs, said the power should go back to regular folks. It wasn't deep policy stuff. She didn't care much for that. It was about that nostalgia he sold, a golden America where families didn't just scrape by, they thrived. For Tori, it felt like a lifeline. She wasn't alone either. Exit polls from 2016 showed rural counties like hers turning out in huge numbers for Trump. Over 60% of rural Americans in poverty believed his ideas lined up with their struggles. So, when Tori cast her first ever vote, it felt personal, like betting on her own chance to finally break free. Trump's win that November wasn't just about him. It felt like her win too. a shot at something better. But how much of that hope was real? And how much was just the timing? Validation feels great, doesn't it? That's how Tori stayed committed to the MAGA mindset for so long, because for a while, it gave her what she craved most, a sense of belonging and pride. And if she ever had doubts, there were people like Ben Shapiro and John Burke ready to steer her right back in line. Their snarky videos felt like cheat codes to intellectual superiority. Liberals weren't just wrong, they were jokes, villains even, and it was her job to laugh along. Every headline about liberal meltdowns over Trump made her feel like she was part of a winning team, one too smart and too tough to ever lose. But then COVID-19 hit, and reality hit harder. Tori's mom caught the virus early on, followed by her grandfather. She tried to keep faith in the party line. Trump was saying it would disappear like a miracle, after all. But hospitals don't run on miracles. Her mom fought for weeks before succumbing, and just 4 days later, her grandfather did too. That Thanksgiving was quiet, too quiet. And for the first time, the MAGA talking points about masks, lockdowns, and freedom didn't feel like strength. They felt like excuses. Suddenly, it wasn't vague politicians contradicting the facts. It was Tori's own empty dinner table doing it. Still, she held on, at least until January 6th. Flipping through channels that evening, a PBS documentary showed footage of the Capitol riots. People smashing windows, waving Confederate flags she'd seen in her neighbors' backyards. She stared at the TV like it was playing scenes from someone else's country, someone else's movement. The next day, she heard a family friend defending the rioters, calling them patriots. That shattered her mirror. Tori finally saw the ugly contradiction. The same people preaching law and order were storming the Capitol. Studies show she wasn't alone. COVID-19 and January 6th caused many former Trump voters to step back, rethinking what they'd signed up for. Tori started piecing it together, realizing MAGA wasn't about helping people like her. It was about selling an illusion she couldn't afford anymore. Tori's story isn't just a personal awakening. It's a reminder that MAGA was never about lifting people up. It sold an image, shiny and simple, but one that crumbled the moment anyone looked too closely. As Tori puts it, real change only starts when there's a safe space to ask tough questions. It takes them feeling safe and having a space to ask those questions. And maybe that's the challenge for all of us, to meet confusion, not with judgment, but honest conversation. How many more golden tickets will it take before others start realizing they're not gold at all?